All right, welcome back to the show. It is August 18th, where football is just right around the corner here in the great state of Iowa. I'm Nathan Creeps, joined by my co-host, the Big Daddy Borchteller. And today we welcome on a son who is forever loyal true to the university. But Penn State stole everything from this man. They stole his coach, his quarterback, his tight end, his linebacker, you name it, they're in Happy Valley. But they could not steal the Cardinal and gold. It is Mason Magruder from OutCyde The Lines.
Welcome,
Appreciate
Mason.
y'all having me.
Mason's
Working
the
through
best.
a little bit of the depression still, but thank you for the intro.
It is the best sight for sore eyes when you show back up on this podcast because it means football is right around the corner. Yes. Very good to see you.
You all as well. Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of I'm going to be very upfront about it. I've been going through like a little bit of a depression episode. The last 6-8 months, however long it's been since the Campbell news. But I think the only way for me to really come out of it is to see those damn Cyclones put on a helmet again and to just, start smelling the turf. I don't even know if we have turf or real grass. I think we have real grass, but I'm pumped for it. We need it. We need it back.
Speaking of Penn State real quick, did you guys see the cocaine bust there today?
Yeah, I did.
Like 13 to 14 frat boys.
Yeah, Mason, they're running a cocaine ring over at Penn State. That's what Matt Campbell just walked into.
Oh, no wonder why he left Iowa State for Penn State. I mean, he needed a new hobby to get into.
Yeah.
I was going to try and pull it up for you, but
they got more restaurants and more cocaine over there in Happy Valley.
Yeah, are we going to talk about how they've just been shitting on Ames and then they move all the media rooms to like a damn cafeteria? They're like, oh yeah. So much better here than Ames. Like, what the hell are we talking?
We definitely could, but everyone's been ripping on it enough for the last month. But
I think we're good.
Mason, every time you join this show, you speak on behalf of the Cyclones. And
yes,
admittedly, Nate and I put our hand up. We do not always fully represent Cardinal and Gold Nation. And you've got us out of some sticky situations in the past. You said you're in a depressive episode. Can you take us just really quickly before we hop into the season where you've been as a fan, and maybe speak on behalf of all of Cardinal and Gold Nation?
Yeah, and here's the reality. I'm not going to be able to speak on behalf of all Cardinal and Gold Nation. I think maybe like 40% of them or so. Everyone has been kind of having their own feelings about it, and I've probably been about as pouty as I could be. Been going through all of the emotions, like just the entire segment of when like the rumor even came to be at Penn State. I think it was Thursday night, then Friday morning, oh shit, this is actually looking like it might be a real thing, to then, okay, we're announcing a new head coach before we've even announced officially that Campbell left. It was one of the worst like welcomings for a new coach ever. Like, I feel terrible for Jimmy Rogers because he should have gotten so much better of a welcome from Iowa State. And at the same time, like I'm kind of pissed off on how it all went down. So I've been going through every sort of emotion you could possibly go through. Very sad, very depressed, very angry. But at the same time, like, I do like Jimmy Rogers. He's a completely different style from what we're used to. I think part of me has to like see it to believe it. At the same time, from like where we were, which used to be the kicking can of the Big 12 of all of college football, to where Campbell took us at. To me, it was worth every single penny reinvesting in him and then allowing him to kind of take the roster by his own means. Like, any sort of way to retain him, I was all for it, just because like we knew we were where we were at, and to be relevant and to be growingly relevant is what I would argue was always worth every single penny we could have invested in him. So I'm still very sad about how everything went down. Like, there's no sugarcoating that. But to look on the complete opposite side of the equation, Jimmy Rogers has got to do some proving to us, but from everything I know of him, what he did at Washington State, what he did at South Dakota State, dropping the F-bomb, are you kidding me, at a Cy-Hawk game? Campbell would never do that. Like, it's a new era, and I'm kind of pumped to embrace it, because I think, change is not always a bad thing, but for the people that don't feel as in control of the change, like the fans, like we're just there for the ride, it's really hard for us to kind of grapple at that time. So yeah, all the emotions, lay it on me if there's anything that you feel about it. Yeah.
I'm really excited for your breakdown. I know Nate has a lineup of us kind of going through the Hawkeye schedule, maybe some of the roster, and then we'll save the best for last because there are so many question marks on the Cyclone side of things. So we'll save that for the end. And, you do your best. I think Nate said it really well 2 weeks ago when we talked. Even the experts don't know what we're in for. And I think your optimism might be able to just change the tide of how the entire season is going because I don't know if anybody really knows what's going on. So very excited to have you. And Nate, if you don't mind, I'd love to recap what has happened within this last year. And almost like bring gravity to the situation. Like to Mason's point, we lost Campbell. We lost a Titan. Really, it kind of looked like the Cyclones were going to own us for the rest of time.
That was great news when that broke out. Was it December?
That
Yeah.
was December.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was,
because
that,
it was
that was
Cyhawk
like
game.
one of the best times I've ever had on Twitter because the whole week you knew it was happening, and just to see Iowa State fans hold on, say he's and I don't blame them for trying to stay optimistic, but it was like, oh man, it was like eating ice cream after a delicious dinner. This watching, you knew the inevitable was coming, and then when that happened, just ripping the Band-Aid off on them, and then it was time to get Campbell out of town. He was starting to own Kirk. And this is very refreshing for Hawkeye Nation. But you guys had the laugh here last couple of years. I had to eat a hot ass chip. Suffer. I had to eat it twice because we lost the footage. Absolute terrible experience. And then Mason, if we freaking lose the Iowa State again this year, two things are going to be happening. You're banned from this podcast.
All right.
And I will be in Guantanamo Bay after my terrorism acts in Iowa City. So,
all right, I like that. We're gonna remember those comments when Ben McCollum leaves y'all at some point. So, I'm glad that was the happiest week of your life.
If he can get me to a Final Four, I'll shake hands and say thank you. I'll miss the hell out of you, but if he's already brought me to new heights I've never experienced in my entire life. So that man can do whatever he wants.
Nate describes Campbell leaving as eating ice cream. He alluded to the hot chip, and that calls back to the bet that was made between you two. During this podcast almost exactly a year ago today. Boys, are we doing another bet? Because part of that bet was also an NIL shotgun, which, by God, I hope I don't have to do again. That Ames Lager was trash. And I don't like hating on local Iowa business, but that was not good.
I feel confident betting anything this year. What do you want to do, Mason?
I mean, here's the thing. I like to enjoy beer. I'm at this point where I'm 31 years old. Like, I'm not just going to, crush 20 Busch Lights. That's just those days are behind me. So I actually love to like drink and really enjoy a beer. But when it comes to shotgunning, like just give me any beer that's not good and I will shotgun it. So in a way, an Iowa Swarm beer is perfect for me to shotgun. Just like puncture a hole in it, maybe even lukewarm is better, and just down that bad boy. I'm down to do it.
Have you seen that new Hawkeye beer? It's just a straight Hawkeye logo. Have you seen? I'm actually hearing a lot of great things about it. A lot of people are like comparing them to like Easy Eddies. Like the Iowa Swarm beer sucked ass.
Is it
But
Tiger
this
Hawk
new
I'm glad
from
you
Big
admitted
Grove?
that.
Is that what it is? I think that's what it is.
Maybe Tiger
I'm
Hawk
actually-
from Big Grove.
Everyone like Chad Lysico, a lot of people who are, obviously most Hawkeye fans are talking about it, but from even like unbiased perspectives, they're saying this is the real deal. So if you're gonna lose, you might have some deliciousness here, Mason.
Yeah, I mean, I like beer. So, like, if it's a good beer, I will admit.
There are.
And I will say, like, the Iowa Swarm beer didn't really taste like much. Like, I can't say it was the worst beer I've ever had. I'll be honest. It is probably the worst named beer. Like, a warm beer. Like, what the hell was that? Yeah. Hey, I'll also admit Cytown is maybe a worse branding name than the Swarm beer. So, yeah, I want to be a little unbiased here.
Okay. Are we doing the official handshake? We're in for a shotgun.
I'll throw a hot chip in there again too.
Okay. I think that's deserved. If Iowa State wins this year.
You don't got to do it, but if Iowa freaking loses Iowa State, I will do the hot chip.
If we lose to Iowa by 4+ touchdowns, so what is that? 6 times 4. If we lose to Iowa by 24, I'll do the hot chip challenge.
Not including extra points. All right, hell yeah, dude.
Which with the uncertainty, that's like that. Who knows?
That's
at the same time, you all could lose to us.
That's a man's
24,
bet.
But
so minimum 24 points. You will and then if I would lose it straight up, I will do the hot chip. Okay,
but by more than 4 touchdowns. So
it's got to be 25.
25 or more. Yeah, 25 is
is
the break even point. Yep.
All right, boys, the stage is set. I'm going to kind of check out here now because I have not done my research, and I'm really excited to listen to you boys chop it up. I'll chime in when I can because I've seen a little bit of the QB battles and stuff, but Nate, where are we starting off first?
Yeah, we'll start with Iowa this year because I'm still waiting for Mason to confirm Iowa State even has a football team, and it's our time. But I just want to do a quick, brief overlook of Iowa's team this year. Obviously, the big elephant in the room is Hecklinski versus Hank Brown, and that should all be rest of case after the kids' day practice. I mean, Hecklinski threw for 207 yards, 5 touchdowns. Hank Brown threw for 9 for 21, 42 yards, 0 touchdowns. And Kirk freaking fires off. The quarterback controversy right now is clearly cloudy. It's Kirk fearing shit. But because the anticipation going into the first week or two was that they're going to switch halves. That shit cannot happen.
Never good.
That's never good. You can go back to Jake Christensen doing it with freaking Ricky Stanzi, CJ Beathard doing it with Jake Rudock, Kay McNamara doing it with Brendan Sullivan. It's the fans' quarterback has always been the one that's been clearly the better freaking option. Hank Klinsky needs to be the guy. He's a guy that has aura that we desperately need at a quarterback position. That's been so the clown of NCAA football, Iowa quarterback. So it's someone who's sexy, who's appealing, a leader, and who can scramble, right? I don't know how you watch Mark Gronowski escape the pocket last year after having years of immobile quarterbacks taking sacks and checking down and throwing the ball away, and then going to Mark Gronowski and then not realizing, we need a mobile quarterback who's able to escape a disaster situation, get us 4 or 5 yards, because that's what college football is nowadays, right? You need these guys who are dual threat quarterbacks. So my God, if Hank Brown steps on that fucking field, I'm going to kill somebody.
Couldn't agree more. Mason, we mentioned last week, I think when you were basically on the doorstep of beating what is soon to be the national champion Indiana Hoosiers, and Hank Brown steps in there and throws a couple ducks and a check down that doesn't even get close to the guy's feet. You're like, no chance do I want this guy on the field next year. And Kirk is being Kirk, no doubt, Nate. But I think everyone's spoken. I think everyone saw the beer belly from some of those practices, and almost everybody that I know is in the Hecklinski camp.
His mullet, yeah. So it's got to be Hecklinski. Obviously, we'll find out here. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it the first week. But you can't toy around with that shit because Iowa is notorious for slow developing throughout the season. You saw from Mark Gronowski last year. It took about week 4 or 5 to get things rolling. Yeah, we don't have time to mess around with that. You have Michigan in week 4. You got to start from the get-go. This has got to be your guy, having developed through 3 straight games. You can't mess around with that shit. Defense, you lose a lot of production on the defensive line. They weren't getting to the quarterback a whole lot last year, but it was a pretty solid as defense is stopping the run as it could be. I mean, I trust Phil Parker. I do. You have Io Epinesa coming in. Maybe he's your guy that can get to the quarterback. Secondary will be all right. Linebackers should be pretty good with Montgomery and Cam Buffington. And I want to go next to the special teams. This is my biggest question mark. You go 3 years of Cooper DeJean and Caden Weegan returning punts for you. Drew Stevens, who just was announced as Washington Commanders starting kicker today. And then you lose Reese Dakin, and then you lose LeVar Woods to Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
Those are
big.
That's not something to mess around with.
Mm-hmm. Makes you nervous. For sure.
The problem is I think Iowa's like entire team is pretty stout this year, more comparable to other years from like every position. But what we're lacking this year is like a star player. Like we've had the Cooper DeJean, we've had the Caleb Johnson, we've had the Caden Weegan to break loose and score these points and make big impact plays. I don't know who that's going to be this year. Maybe Zach Lutmer might be your guy. It sounds like he's going to be your punt returner, but someone's clearly got to step into that role and be the star player because Iowa has always needed that to excel.
I think those are great points. Nate, I've heard really good things about the cornerbacks that are young. I've heard good things about the line that is young and unproven. I do think because we've got some of those guys like Lutmer get to go back to their position at safety. So that's really exciting. And I think that there's such a culture of special teams. I really do trust the new guard that's going to bring in somebody. But to your point, if you have an unproven quarterback, you got to have Kamari Moulton. You got to have LJ run the ball well. And it starts at that line. So all reasonable worries there from you.
right? You graduate 3 starters from the Outland Trophy winners, the best offensive line in college football last year. But you returning Caden Peter, Trevor Locke, and pretty solid pieces. The O-line, I think, will be above average, pretty solid. But this is as deep as of Iowa receiving and running back room I can ever remember, to be honest. Reese people will laugh, I know. But these guys are actually studs. They catch everything. DJ Vanami, Ostringa, Vanderzee, Tony Diaz is the big hype guy coming from a small college in Texas, and Evan James, who's making a lot of noise. It's just, can the quarterback get him the freaking ball?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you give him the opportunity to make a play.
There's maybe for the first time in a few years where you feel like you have legitimate offensive weapons. You don't want to be wasting that early in the season, destroying confidence and thinking we don't really know. There's going to be a question mark for the remainder of the season at quarterback. It just feels like you'd be in a colossal waste mode.
All right, that's my quick perspective. We'll get into the schedule here. Unless Mason, you got anything to throw on the Iowa Hawkeyes, or did you learn a lot right there?
I learned a lot, and I appreciate that rundown. I definitely learned more than I thought I
Mason,
would.
are you with
Okay,
us?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh no. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. Who is the QB that transferred from Wake Forest? What is that?
Jeremy Hecklinski.
Okay.
That's the guy.
He didn't see the field playing behind oh my gosh, everyone's oh no, I'm thinking. No, I'm okay, never mind. Cut this part out. Just kidding, keep it in. I was thinking of Vanderbilt. I was thinking he was like the backup QB to the Vandy.
No,
QB.
Hecklinski was on. Him and Hank Brown were both on Iowa's team last year, the entire time, and that's something different. Iowa's struggled here lately with. You bring in Mark Gronowski, who hasn't had a year learning the playbook. It's a very complex freaking playbook for some fucking reason, and then he gets injured late in spring, has a shoulder surgery, so then he misses 2 months of rep. How many times Cade McNamara came in, got freaking injured, couldn't rep with the team forever. So all these rusty ass quarterbacks, little rep, get jumped into a brand new system, and then it takes them 4 to 5 weeks to progress. You're Iowa, you don't have time to mess around with that shit, right? Those are valuable games to begin this season. So for the first time, we've had a quarterback that's been in the system for a full year, learning the system, right? It should be at least well seasoned. It should feel confident about the plays being called out there, and a little bit more comfortable than previous.
Is it actually a complex system though? Like I feel like it's one of the most simplistic offenses I've ever seen. Like I'm actually dead serious. Is it really hard?
Sad about it. It looks that fucking simple, but that's all you ever hear is Brian Ferentz how freaking difficult he made this playbook. Tim Lester's not making it any easier. They said it takes a year to learn the system, but yeah,
it shouldn't.
You would think
the
it's
best offensive minds out there keep it as simple as possible. That's probably the issue. But
and the thing is, like,
it looks so simple.
Predictable. Yeah. It was so predictable too. That's why I'm like, how is it that fucking hard when it's that fucking predictable? I'm watching on my couch and I can call it the plays. So you're telling me your guess is as good as mine.
I mean, I feel like you see more Iowa football than I do. I'll be real with you there, but like I feel like the classic, like maybe 3 routes going at a time, like just read one option, 2 option, and probably throw it away if those aren't open. Like I feel like you're not doing a lot of like progressions and a lot of reads as the quarterback at least. And I don't know. I look at it from that perspective, and maybe offensive line play could be kind of. I don't know. I'm not an offensive lineman, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Like QBs take forever to figure out the Iowa offense, and I feel like Gronowski is a pretty intelligent dude. So if he's saying it, then it's probably viable.
Well, Tim Lester's saying it too on multiple interviews, saying it takes time, and he said that Gronowski took time for him to get in the swing of things, and obviously because of his injury too, right? Yeah, I mean he had freaking shoulder surgery late spring, but nonetheless, obviously when he got the hang of it, I wish we had another year for him. So that sucks. All right, let's run through the schedule quick. Let's see how we're feeling about this. I don't even care about the first 3 games. Do you? I mean, obviously you got Iowa State the middle. I feel pretty confident State 3-0. Do you guys disagree? You think Iowa State's going to give them a run for the money, Mason?
Dude, there's no confidence I have in my like body with this Iowa State football team. But when it comes to the Iowa game, I don't feel like it's a great matchup for us in the sense that I kind of think Kirk Ferentz and Jimmy Rogers have a somewhat similar like coaching style where it's just controlling the football, controlling time of possession, like strong line play. And I feel like they're honestly kind of more similar than they're different there. But at the same time, I can't imagine that a team that turned over, like literally had the highest turnover of any college football roster out there, is going to have like a cohesive unit by what, week 2?
Mhm.
So, I mean, just to be real, probably not looking great. But at the same time, Campbell did have a play style that could maybe go against Ferentz. And at the same
Yeah.
time, he would always play Kirk Ferentz style of football, which is why he usually lost.
Hmm.
Kind of, figured his shit out like in the last year or two or so. But with Jimmy Rogers, it's like, okay, if you're going to play Kirk Ferentz style of football, Jimmy Rogers actually is going to stack up better than Matt Campbell probably ever would. So I just think it's more of a toss up than people can really give it credit for.
All right. Staying. That's why this man bleeds Cardinal and gold. But
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Nate, I just
I
have to do it because of the in-state rivalry. I want to say 3-0, but even the UNI game, while I know the Panthers have no shot, there's something about the in-state that makes me excited. I'm going to say 3-0 with you, but there's something about a new
UNI
team
history.
unproven, you just don't know.
I'm gonna go Iowa State. Iowa beats Iowa State by 18. Is my guess.
Okay.
Close enough.
That's my guess.
Not hot chip, but still a decided win. I like
Not
that.
not hot chip worthy for Mason. No. So Iowa goes 1-0 Northern Illinois, 2-0 Iowa State. I
We better.
smother fucking you. They smother
we
UNI. It is interesting because it's a night game this year at Kinnick. Last time it was a bloodbath. All right,
I like
this
it.
is
3-0.
okay. This is where we're getting to the interesting part of the schedule. Iowa's most difficult stretch I can remember in Big Ten play. They go at Michigan, then Ohio State, then at Washington. Mason, I need an unbiased perspective here. Let me kind of give you my thoughts.
Yeah.
I think if you take these 3 games and you spread them out, like they're not back to back to back or back to back, either way throughout Iowa's schedule, Iowa loses all 3 of them. The fact that there's 3 straight games, I have a hard time believing that Kirk goes 0-3 in these games. Is that foolish to say?
I'm
just
looking
feel-
at it right now. So you go to Michigan first, and then Ohio State. Well, then
I
Ohio State comes to Iowa City, and then you go to Washington. I do think Washington's kind of like a beatable team. I don't know. I just feel like they're a good team, and I feel like Iowa is a good team too.
they-
Um, but Iowa does like they have like one random home game every year where it's just like what the hell happened, and they just go off. And so yeah, I think it's more wishful thinking, but at the same time, I kind of like where you're at. I just think the Washington is the one where you can actually do something there because Michigan with their new head coach, I mean, I think they're going to go back to like hard
Kyle
nosed
Whittingham.
football.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And here's the thing: it's you get Michigan at week 4. That's not recipe for success for Iowa. Iowa needs to get them in like week 6 or 7 when the train gets rolling a little bit faster. So I don't like that.
why
I like
is
going
that?
you play. What's
Like
that?
there's newness in Michigan. Like if anything, wouldn't you want to play them early?
It's you can make a case for both sides, but I'm just going off historically for Iowa. It's
Yeah.
it's the same shit every year. They look so much better as the season progresses.
You don't see the best of Kirk Ferentz teams until end of October, November.
It's so most people are saying if they're going to get one, it's probably going to be at Michigan. I don't believe it. They got too much talent too early in the season for me. Star quarterback Kyle Whittingham. Then Ohio State could be. I think that we lose by at least 2 touchdowns to that. But I think just because we lost the 2 previous ones, that the team's got to have some resilience and like a do or die situation. You sneak one out against Washington, but I was also notoriously terrible on the West Coast. It's almost a guaranteed loss every single time they go out there.
Nate,
But I have a hard time believing that we go 0-3 in these games.
I think you're right. I liked optimistic 2-1. I compare Washington to USC last year, where they're a great top 25 team matchup, but it's not like you can't win it. I hope you split between Michigan and Ohio State. That's optimistic fan talk. So maybe 5-1 at that point.
If you can, no, probably 4-2.
4-2.
If you can sneak one of those games, I'm happy. You're alive. You're alive in the college football playoff. And then you go at Minnesota, and I don't like this year either. I don't. I honestly think Iowa loses this game.
The Fleck monster finally rises up.
I think they get Iowa this year. We've had their number. It's at Minnesota this year. Minnesota's a sneaky, good big team this year in the Big Ten behind their quarterback. God, who's their quarterback? He was a freshman last year. Pretty solid arm, but I'm going loss. I go Iowa's 4-2 here at this situation.
Okay. Damn, that's tough.
I don't like it.
Tough sledding so far from the Hawks.
I think they ride a high, beat Washington, and come back to that and lose. And then you're going to kick Wisconsin's ass at home. It's Halloween night.
Okay, I like that.
Nothing's good happened to Madison, Wisconsin here the last 4 years. This will be the last year of their coach after he gets fired. Then you go to Northwestern, and they'll have their brand new stadium. But it'll be 60% Hawkeye fans there in Chicago. Tricky matchup here, too. You just never know with Northwestern because it's hard to get up for that. It's one of those teams that's hard to get up for, you know?
You know, it would be very Iowa is to get 2 out of the 3 in the Washington, Ohio State, and Michigan lineup, and then boot one to Northwestern.
I'm still going to go if they get this win. So right now I got them at 6-3.
Okay.
I just pause you right here for a second.
Yeah, what's up?
What's such bullshit about Iowa's schedule every damn year is if you can go 4-2 out of that Washington game, yeah, like you have an actual like viable path to the playoff. Like you're telling me your next hardest game, in my opinion, I think it's Illinois, but could be Minnesota. Like those are so winnable, and it just like that's every year why it just kind of is a little maddening to watch Iowa just do Iowa things because, like, yeah, you could lose to Michigan and Ohio State, the teams that you're expected to lose against, and still, like, limp into the playoffs somehow and, like, get blown out in the first round.
Yeah, you still have a little reminiscence of the Big 12 West living in the back half of Iowa's schedule here. So it's always reassuring. So if you can take care of business, they're probably going to be favored in every single game following the Washington, if I had to guess. Maybe not at Illinois.
God, Illinois is like a trap game. Well, not really a trap game. I think people respect them.
No, Illinois is freaking awesome with Bielema.
Yeah.
They still have that same quarterback from last year. God, I loved him. I forget what his name is. He's probably my second favorite quarterback in the Big Ten. I don't know if he's still there, but Illinois, who did they beat last year? They beat Tennessee. They beat freaking Tennessee in the bowl game. I mean, they're a respectful program, so I'm going to go loss here too.
Caton Hauser, does that sound correct?
No. So they got a new quarterback.
Different guy.
Yeah. So
this is gonna piss me off. I'm looking up his name right now because he was a stud.
He was
Luke Altmaier. Yeah, I liked it.
Altmaier. Yep. Altmaier. So beat Purdue. I think they lose at Illinois. Do you guys feel the same way?
I'm in on it. I'm riding your coattails on this schedule, Nate. I believe in you.
If you have maybe more veteran quarterback, they find a way to get this done. I think there's going to be a lot of inconsistency this year without these new guys coming in. So then they beat Nebraska, is my opinion, and then boom, you have your traditional Iowa 8-4.
Have we done 8-4 Iowa prediction every year that Mason's been on?
No, I think I went 9-3 last year, which I was damn close.
Yeah,
maybe even 10-2. Because I always pick them to fucking beat Iowa State every year. That's kiss my ass.
Minnesota, Northwestern, I'm not. I think that's where I disagree with you a little bit. Illinois for sure. I think there's probably 3 or 4 toss-ups. I'm not sure what those look like, but Rule and Fleck have pretty much something to prove this year. Otherwise, they're probably out. I don't exactly know that, but they're damn close. Rule promised change. There's been no change. So I do think that those are closer matchups than I would like. Otherwise, I really liked your lineup. Those 3 games, as Mason pointed out, you get through those 2-1, 1-2, you still have a legitimate shot at the playoff.
Your ceiling's probably 10-2 here.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, and then at 9-3 is a good season. 8-4, it's like, well, shit. Iowa, anything below 8's a bad season.
I love it, Mason. Any contradictions as a Cyhawk sit in here?
Honestly, it was a pretty honest analysis, and I gave you some credit there. I do not know at all like what Nebraska's quarterback situation is going to be because, like, I mean, at the end of the day, they couldn't really get Raiola any time. But I do like Matt Rule as a college football coach. Like, I think he's like a classic college football coach. I just haven't really liked his teams, like the roster construction, honestly. But to your point, I'm glad you brought it up, Bryce. I do think that they're going to be playing with their hair on fire, and Nebraska might be in a little bit more of a desperate situation than Iowa will be at the end of the year. Like I very well could see Iowa being, playing for like a 9-win season or maybe 8-win season, like kind of locked in like some bowl. I don't know, maybe like a lower mid-tier bowl. And Nebraska could very well be like fighting for their life, like trying to get bowl eligible, just so Matt Rule can say like, "Hey, winning season this year to salvage another."
Yeah, but we've had that
another,
same situation like 3 or 4 times where they've had to win that game to be bowl eligible. Nobody gets in their way more than Nebraska.
Oh
That's
yeah,
why it's hard for me to sit there and say, yeah, I think Nebraska's going to get. I mean, I've seen it for a decade straight, and it's awesome. I hate.
You
I
know
hate
what's
Nebraska
awesome
10
about
times more
it?
than Iowa State.
The freshmen, the high recruits going on Twitter saying, I came here for one reason,
Yeah.
and that's to beat Iowa. It's like, don't even say that. Don't.
I saw
now you've ruined every chance that you had.
He said he was going to go 4-0 against Iowa
Yeah.
in his Twitter video or something.
Yeah, Nate, I think that's super fair. I'm really excited to hear about the Big 12 in general, and definitely Iowa State. I think there's a lot of question marks, which has been stated over and over on every podcast in the state. And Mason's going to bring joy and hope to the fan base. And I'm going to chime in and act like
I'm going to sit back
about.
and listen here because I need to learn. I need to learn what the hell is happening in Ames and and Jack Trice Stadium.
There is a lot to learn. So I gave obviously like a little bit of a rundown on just Jimmy Rogers and his coaching style. One thing I will say is I think we are very prominently projected to be like worse in the Big 12. I don't believe, there's definitely not another Big 12 team that has more turnover than us this year. And so that is going to be something we're going to have to overcome. However, at Washington State, 1-year wonder there, he, I think, had 18 of his 22 starters, maybe even more, that were all transfers. So if you look at like the success with having a strong not strong, just like a ton of transfers who are coming in and starting immediately, it doesn't usually bode well for a lot of the history of college football, at least with the transfer portal that we've had so far. But if anyone can go in and do that, I think it's Jimmy Rogers. And more than anything else, I think he honestly raises our floor. I don't think we're going to have like the highest ceiling, and that's not like breaking news or anything. But as far as like how he will control the line of scrimmage, kind of control time of possession, especially with like bringing over Jalen Raynor from Arkansas State, the QB, and even it was either his offensive coordinator or his QB's coach. I can't remember, but the guy who was coaching Jalen at Arkansas State is now our quarterback's coach at Iowa State. So in the area where I think a coach can come in and like set a strong culture, like we're going to punch you in the nose, kind of like a Dan Campbell mentality, like bite kneecaps or whatever. I think that's something you can establish like pretty earlier on in the season. But when it comes to like the artistry of the offensive schematics, that usually takes a little bit of time to get. And so the beauty of this situation is we have a running QB with Jalen Raynor, also a vet. Like the dude has been slinging it for a while. I'm not gonna say he's like the greatest QB in college football, but he's a good solid pickup who will have some consistency with his QB coach. So though Jimmy Roger can I really think he can get a iron tight defense going potentially as early as week 1. I think that's something you can do on the defensive side of the football. But on the offense side, it's going to take time. And running QBs allow you to buy time for the first handful of weeks. They can literally run around and figure shit out as they go, as opposed to maybe a pocket QB who needs timing and rhythm to be there immediately in order for them to have success. So I don't think our floor is I would say floor, in my opinion, is 5 wins, and I think that's the absolute floor. DraftKings has Iowa State at 4.5 wins. Bet the over. Do not bet the over.
I love slamming that win total.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm not a guy who I usually have a rule of don't bet on either the Colts, my favorite NFL team, or the Cyclones, my favorite college team. But if I see something that just feels like I'm taking free money, I will bet either of those teams. So this is I think the first time since DraftKings has been legal in my state where I feel very confident to take an actual bet for Iowa State's win total. So bet the over. The floor will be higher than a lot of people are thinking. But at the end of the day, I think our ceiling is going to be very limited, especially with the people that we're bringing in. We're bringing in a lot of very different the Campbell era, where it's a lot of strong defensive ends. We have a really great offensive tackle from Oklahoma, or at least high upside with him. I'm not necessarily sure about our skill players necessarily, so I think that's where you're going to see like our ceiling really come in as not as high as you really want it to be.
Fair. I appreciate that insight, honestly, on Rayner, because I hadn't heard much about him and looked too much into him yet. Now that I have to hammer that 5-win money line, win total, I will definitely be doing a little bit more research.
He almost beat Iowa State last year. What did he do? Did he throw a late interception on that final drive? Is that what happened? Okay.
That's why I know that name.
Yeah, the opportunity. Oh, dude, he balled out last year.
He ran all over us, dude. I think he had like 87 rush yards against us. It was nuts. Like
he was willing them to a potential victory there.
Is there anybody that you can shed light on from who he's throwing to / handing the football off to? I think that's interesting to me.
So, I don't want to bring up, race necessarily when I'm just like a one show a year with you all, but I'm almost a little sick of like a white running back being at Iowa State, and then everyone's like, holy shit, he could be the next Christian McCaffrey. It's like, dude, let's calm the hell down. Oh my gosh. I swear, whenever there was like any white running back that we have, everyone's just like, Christian McCaffrey. He's like, no, let's not go there.
It's a high bar.
Because who was your guy last year?
Hansen.
It was Carson Hansen.
Hansen, yep.
Which to me is so funny that he is going to start for Penn State. You're telling me that you're the Penn State Nittany Lions and you can't get a better running back than Carson Hansen? That's ridiculous.
Back,
he is.
Solid,
I think
he's a low floor.
I think he's a solid 2 running back.
Yes.
Him at starting. Hey, prove us wrong.
What was so frustrating about? No, you're good. Like Abu Sama, I think his talent was insane, and now he's over at Wisconsin. Yeah. But like he could not run through the holes. Like it just felt like he would bounce things to the outside and just like wasn't seeing things very clearly. So Carson, though he wasn't as talented, he would just run the play as designed. And Mauser, oh my gosh, I miss Mauser.
As fundamental as it got.
It is. So that leads me to say Aiden Flora. Okay. All of that goes to Aiden Flora. All white running back roads lead to Aiden Flora. Okay. He was a spark plug for us on the special team side of things. I can't remember the game. He had a punt return to kind of seal a victory. Okay. Cannot remember the game to save my life, damn it. So a lot of people are like, oh, he's one of the few people we're retaining. Yeah, this guy's going to have a Christian McCaffrey-like season. I was like, okay, we need to stop that narrative. But I think he will be a good 1-2 punch with the transfer. And I got to look up his name. We got an entirely new roster, so bear with me, everyone.
This is completely valid, and I feel like very authentic because I think that's a lot of people right now, Mason.
Wait for you to bring up your best player, Kyle Conradi.
Oh, he probably is our best player. So Cameron Petaway was kind of like MAC freshman of the year, freshman All-American, Bowling Green. And so you got to acknowledge, like, I'm not saying the Big 12's defenses are going to be as strong as like the Big 10. Even though I think the gap is closer than people think, there's going to be a huge step up in the people that he's going to be running against. And I think he's got burst to him, he's got some speed, he's got a lot of promise. And I think like kind of countering him with an Aiden Flora, they both are pass catching running backs, which I think is huge for someone like Jalen Raynor, where I think our offensive line is actually going to be pretty decent this year. That's what Jimmy Rogers is usually like, strong at. But like while we're trying to develop the downfield offense, which I think will take time with potentially Cody Jackson or I think it's Dominic Overby, that's where you can really lean into like your pass catchers at the running back position where you have both Flora and Petaway who can do that for you. Mm-hmm. So I just think that's going to buy Jalen some time. Now, on the other side with other transfers, I kind of mentioned Cody Jackson. He is like, I think he was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, offers from Alabama, LSU, and Texas. But he transferred from Tarleton State. Their best wide receiver, taller dude who can really just run. Like, this is one of those guys who's like, don't even do any cuts, just go routes all the time, okay? Just run, and he'll go up and get it. He can run past his guys, so I really like him. I'm very cautious to compare people to like a Hakeem Butler, but very vertical guy. He will stretch the field.
That sounds just like a bill for an Iowa State receiver.
Oh yeah,
You know, that tall, lengthy guy that is Hakeem Butler, Jalen Higgins. God, who's the guy from not Johnson?
Urbandale, Alan Lazard.
Urbandale. Yeah, Lazard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
That was
man.
just like one of those builds.
Yep. So I think he'll help like stretch the field. Where I'm a little concerned, and this is just me not being able to like know all the players very well. We have Dominic Overby who's coming back as one of our few like returning starters. He had some like really solid success with Rocco Becht, and they built chemistry early on. I think like through midway through the season, he led our receiving or yeah, just our entire team in receiving touchdowns. The guy can do it. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a of like an additional like vertical threat, someone who will be in the right place at the right time. Where I think Iowa State, to my knowledge, is really missing is that great route runner, like someone who can just get open, kind of be
Jalen
the
Noel.
safety blanket. Jalen Noel,
Yeah.
Deshaunte Jones, like those high volume receivers, even Xavier Hutchinson. I don't see that in our roster right now, and I would pray to God I'm wrong, because that is like that type of safety blanket you need for a QB to, instead of just like dumping it off to your running backs every time or launching it deep. Especially if we don't know how the O line is going to be, you need to have a decent O line in order for the play to develop to throw downfield. So that's where I'm really nervous with our offensive, identity. I think we're going to really lean into the run game a ton, and hopefully kind of lull defenses to sleep and find some of those 30 40-yard passes downfield to a Cody Jackson or an Overby or someone else who I'm not really thinking of right now that can get those like cheap touchdowns.
It's a very fun mystery right now. Well, you know what sticks out, Mason, is that guy, that safety blanket, because you've already mentioned that he scrambles. There's nobody better than a Jalen Noel when Rocco Becht's getting time and making a play happen after everything's broken down, and you have a guy to dump it off on the sideline or in the middle. I like having you guys play great defense. Who do we got over there?
Yeah, I will like it. So we got some fun people. Oh my gosh, and I'm about to blank on I think our best transfer is from Washington State. Bear with me, I got to remind myself of his name. But we got
every Cyclone fan's doing the same shit right now.
I know that's been the best part of this so far.
Even the report.
Can I phone a friend? Do you know his name right now? Like, it's gonna piss me off.
Nate, you've already mentioned it too. The same way we kind of saved Iowa State for last because it's the most exciting big question mark that we have. Mason's also saving the ace in the hole. If you can only get 20 yards and you have to kick a 70-yard field goal, they have that guy. But I digress. Did you find the name?
Dude, we're gonna miss.
Yeah, there it is. Isaac Terrell.
Okay.
So, top defensive line performer in the Pac-12, which, the Pac-12 was a Pac-12 last year, so, whatever. But he's going to be probably one of our better transfers on the defensive side of things. The defensive side, I think, is what will really get you excited as an Iowa State fan. Bear with me on pronunciation. Jaheim Singletary was like a 4 or a 5-star recruit, depending on what site you're looking at out of high school. Originally committed to Georgia, then transferred to Arkansas. I would say he has a ton of athleticism and a ton of upside. I don't know exactly what we can expect out of it right now because just be candid with you, based off his star ranking and how his college football's career right now has progressed, probably more on the disappointing side of things. But hell, sometimes it just takes the right defensive coach. And even moving to, from a 3-man front to a 4-man front can put more pressure on the QB. That's where you can really allow your, cornerbacks to eat. So he's a cornerback coming in. We also have a safety named Braden Owls, 3-star recruit coming out of high school, transferred from Toledo. Now, he was all MAC last year, 9 interceptions, ball hawk. Of course, you got to ask the question, what's it going to be like transferring from MAC football to the Big 12?
Hey, if Kirk Ferentz and their staff say if you produce at any level, that's what they look for in these guys. I mean, they're taking guys from Furman who are producing at the Big 10 level. So it's we don't care if you're putting up numbers. It usually translates at the college level. So
And
That's
look
a
at
good start,
Trinidad
yeah.
Chambliss, and hell, I'll even throw a bone to
Uh-huh.
Hawkeye fans. Look at Bennett Sturts. Like I know it's a different
There you
Right.
go.
like
Well,
game
and
there,
we
but
saw
like
it in,
if they
in
can
football.
play,
We
they
saw it
can.
with Dion. We saw it with Signetti. It can happen. So, I mean, as much as you might be nervous, I think it's possible. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that Rodgers is Signetti yet. I think that's a high bar, but it is possible. I definitely don't
Absolutely.
shit on him. I think that we're even seeing it from. It's hard, I can't even believe I'm saying it. Kirk Ferentz has completely adopted that method.
And then to kind of round out the defense, I would say returners. You have Carson Willich, who's a strong safety or outside linebacker. Bear with me. He's definitely an out. Yeah, he's definitely a linebacker. Excuse me. He kind of stepped in when we were going through like the injury revolving door, and I would say he was fine when he stepped in. To be a little critical, I would want him to be a little bit more productive than he was. Like if he's going to be a starter this year, we need to see a little bit more production out of him. So just being, I guess pretty critical there. Same thing with Zamir Hawk. Very likely to be a starter at the defensive tackle position. I would say he had very solid production in the games and the snaps that he played in. Got some good quarterback hurries, some TFLs. What the bitter reality is like all of our big name players, as everyone knows, went to Penn State, and so like when we do have some returners like them, like the reality is they were either low end starters or they were like high end backups, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. Sometimes like that's Campbell's style, like he will allow people to sit on the bench to develop. So hell, they very well could have been starters even if Campbell was here and we had a full roster. Okay. But at the end of the day, like that's just what I'm based off of seeing them last year. I think that they're going to improve, especially under Jimmy Rodgers. I think defense is going to look better this year than it did last year, which is saying quite a bit. But at the end of the day, like you kind of have to prove it on the field to show it. And then that leads me to Kyle Conrarty, baby.
Yeah.
Best
Ace
kicker
in
in
the
college
hole.
football. Oh my gosh. What was it,
He's
54
money. I'm surprised.
yards?
I'm surprised he stayed. I wouldn't know like how much money he passed up from going to Penn State to stay at Iowa State with that leg.
I mean, he
You
was the
know.
only person that embraced the legendary status.
Yeah.
Like
Good
he
for
could
him.
stay there and like we just need to
Dubuque
line up
native.
with 54 yards
Yeah.
for a 54-yard kick to beat Iowa, and he's just money every time. If
I
we
know.
see it at 53 or even 51 yards, I'm not as
Because
confident.
he
But lay it
his
right at
first
54.
that first kick at Kiddick he was a freshman, right?
Yeah,
And because he got the scholarship the next week. Yeah, so this dude's only a fucking junior, and he gets to play junior, senior, and then the super senior season now with the new 5-year eligibility. This motherfucker, I've been seeing this guy for too long.
yeah, he's nails too, dude.
Some
Like
bitch, yeah.
he's like one of the rare kickers that like lives for the spotlight. Like he's like, yeah, give me in the most high pressure moment, and you got me.
I
Like,
would say if you can keep these games close, he is going to be your absolute weapon to take advantage of these close games. So that's really, you just got to keep the game within the ballpark because his leg will come down. Because, well, God, he got injured for how many games was he injured last year?
I don't
That
know.
cost Iowa State bad.
It did. It did.
Yeah.
Like kind of the middle chunk of our season. Did he come back at the end? I think he came back for maybe like a game or
Yeah,
two.
he did at the end. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the big chunk of that season.
But you're
Well,
exactly right. Like I expect there to be close games with Jimmy Rodgers playing, and the way you win those is by kind of doing the little things right. You gotta have a reliable kicker.
Well, the
Like,
way
you
you're,
got it.
you're stacking your team so far, at least what you're projecting this team to be, it's a little bit stronger up front, maybe a little bit stronger defense. You've got an ace in the hole
Yeah.
kicker. It sounds like we could have ourselves a 12-9 Cyhawk game, which is a lot to look forward to.
Oh yeah, and don't count out 9-6 either. 6
Saying
to
that
9.
much, can you take us down the schedule and give us where
Yeah.
they get those 5 wins?
5 wins is, in my opinion, like a guarantee.
Okay.
Like I don't know, man. I feel very confident that at the very least we're not gonna win. We're not gonna hit the under on the 4.5. Okay, so you got SEMO. Gosh, I always respect SEMO. Nothing bad to say about SEMO whatsoever because I will not disrespect you this year. Maybe we win just hardly. Maybe just hardly, but we're not gonna lose. But SEMO, I'm not overlooking you at all. September 5th, 12 p.m., Ames, Iowa. I'm not going to overlook you at all. But yeah, we're probably going to crush them. Okay, so SEMO, that's a win. Then you got Iowa State versus Iowa. I'm just going to say Iowa State, obviously, dude. Are you kidding me? You think? Come on, Iowa State's going to win that game. I honestly think there's a really good chance we're going to win that game. It's going to be like the surprise factor too, because Kirk Ferentz is one of those coaches who will, come prepared. But how can you prepare against something that's unpreparable?
My biggest advantage. My biggest advantage for Iowa State here, I think Iowa is so in their fucking heads for the last 2 seasons about beating Iowa State. Can Iowa get that out of their heads and just move past it and just play the game how it's meant to be? I think they're just gonna find themselves in a sticky situation when it comes to a mindset and make this game uglier than what it needs to be, and that's what scares me.
Mason,
I do agree with
you win the first game against SEMO 31-0. Iowa is so nervous from the last 2 years. They amass a huge 10-point lead, but they're playing 2 quarterbacks, and they don't know where to go from here. Conradi kicks another field goal for a win. It's possible.
It's very possible.
Yeah, I'd be
I honestly think the
another hot chip for the boys
is going to bode well for us. Also, you said we were going to be
2-0.
I didn't say that.
Oh, we lost your voice there.
Oh no.
You're back. All right, you're good.
Okay, we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you got them at 2-0. All right.
I got 2-0. Okay. Bowling Green. That's going to be the revenge game. Actually, not really revenge. He kind of left them on his own accord. But Cameron Petaway, pop-off game. That's his alma mater. Is that even... What even is an alma mater in the transfer portal nowadays? Is that considered an alma mater?
I think it's valid for how you're describing it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's going to be ground and pound game against Bowling Green. I'm going to say 3-0 to start.
Now Utah 3-0 and their win total's at 4.5.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. This is why I'm saying there's zero chance we're going to win less than 5 games.
Okay. All right. Hey, do your
so Utah, I'm going to give us our first loss of the season there. This is going to be their first Big 12 game without Kyle Whittingham. But I think they promoted their defensive coordinator who will kind of keep the same defensive prowess that Kyle Whittingham had. I think you're gonna see a pretty similar Utah team than you did with Kyle Whittingham. Maybe a little bit of a drop off, but that's where I'm gonna see Iowa State's loss, first loss of the season. Now West Virginia to me is an interesting game because I feel like
aren't they projected to be second to last in the Big 12? Am I wrong?
West Virginia, I've seen so much. I've seen them be kind of toward the tail end. I've also seen a couple. I don't know how legitimate this is, but I've seen a few people say I don't know, putting them in the top 6, top 5. I don't see that out of West Virginia. I haven't really seen that out of the last several years. There's not really much I can go off of. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say that's gonna be a win. What is that? 5-0 or
he's got them at 5.
4-1.
4-1 already.
BYU, let's chalk that up as a loss. Their NIL is very strong.
They got Mormon money. They're spending money.
They got Mormon money. Yeah. Really respect their coach, whose name I'm blanking on right now. Please forgive me.
And you're kicking off at 9:15 at fucking night.
Yeah.
Up there in the West. Yeah.
You can't breathe because you're up in the mountains.
Oh, shit.
Exactly. Look at you. Nice. Arizona, I think, will actually be a closer game than people think. I always feel like Arizona is rated a little bit higher than I think they should be. Noah Fafita with some consistency there at QB. You can't really expect them to make the most mistakes in the world, which is where I think Jimmy Rogers is going to find a lot of his wins this year by essentially forcing quarterback turnovers. So I'm actually going to give that one a loss as well. What are we at? 4-3, I think, right now. Mm-hmm. In Oklahoma State, I don't think Iowa State fans are going to be happy with me this year. I think they're going to be the sleeper team in the Big 12. Brought over the coach and QB, Drew Messmaker from North Texas. That is statistically, I think the best offensive system that existed in college football last year. I don't know how quickly he's going to turn things around at Oklahoma State. It is going to be an Ames game. Halloween. Oh man, we're pretty good.
This will be a fun one.
I think it will be a really fun game.
Oklahoma State's one of those teams that will also spend just an exorbitant amount of money to not be bad.
That's true.
Hold on. Did they? Oh no, they had that big controversy last year because they played Dan Lanning, and Oklahoma State's coach was bitching about how much they didn't get enough money because, well, obviously you're comparing yourself to Oregon, and then since then they just fell off the track, and then you started seeing the shirtless sections in Stillwater.
Yeah. Honestly, I always respect the Oklahoma State fan base. I think they're good.
I'd love to see a little Halloween shirtless fan sections 1v1. That might be the difference, honestly, in that game.
So
It might be.
What have we got? What have we got here, Mason? You got
Baylor.
5-3.
Hold on, no. Did you say they're
5-3?
You seen beating Oklahoma State?
Yeah, I think they're going to lose to Oklahoma State. That's going to be the
Four.
disappointing loss of the season.
So we're 4-4. So
500,
4
yep.
straight losses.
Mm-hmm. Now Baylor has DJ Lagway, which is like the classic. He's basically Anthony Richardson reincarnated. He was a perfect person to fulfill Anthony Richardson's shoes. As a Colts fan, I can say that. Super high upside. Will he ever pull it together? Probably not. Probably not. And so being in Baylor in November 7th, like Cyclone fans will relate to this. It's not a September football game, okay? We are playing at Baylor, but not in September. Give me a W there. Just give me a W. I honestly feel like Lagway is going to make too many critical mistakes. Even if that's just one bad turnover, that could be enough for us to win. So that's going to be one of our solid, I would say, road wins as opposed to the Iowa City win.
5 wins and cha-ching, you've cashed your over ticket.
That's what I'm saying here. Cincinnati at Iowa State. To me, this is just one of those, like, I think we're all pissed off from how it ended. Was it last year? Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was.
Year?
Was it last year? Because they banged up Rocco Beck on that hit.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he was
38
never
to
really
30, October 4th of last year. And Rocco took a big one. Yep.
I think it's just going to be a loud, Jack Trice Stadium. Again, I also don't feel like Cincinnati is one of those, like, teams that's going to come in and dominate us. I'm just going to give the nod to the home team. Now, UCF, to me, like, I just do not know much about them. I feel like they last year were I feel like their record wasn't exemplary to how good of a team I felt like they were. And so just because I don't want to go too overboard with a prediction here, I'm just going to give us an L there. Not really for any logical reason aside from I don't know much about UCF, and we're going to have to travel cross country to go there. So
6-5.
6-5, and then this leads me to Farmageddon, where give me a W. I know Avery Johnson is a QB that can.
God, what? He's still there.
He is. He's coming back again.
God.
He's a classic, like, Heisman candidate, maybe. And it's like, where are you getting that? Like,
no, he'll give you one unbelievable game and then 2 straight shitty games after that or something like that.
I just don't think he's like I don't think he's like the foxhole guy. Like, I think when you go into Ames, Iowa, he's not one of those guys who will what is it? Walk in your track, take over the trap, dude. Why did I say that? Everyone's gonna shit on me for saying that.
That was tough.
The problem with Avery Johnson.
What is it? Someone help me out here, please. Oh my gosh.
And Mason, you've probably seen the ceiling of this guy, so at least you're going into the Farmageddon game with more wins than expected, and potentially, well, at this point, you've already clinched a bowl. It's like that Iowa-Nebraska game. You take home that, you feel great. Jimmy Rogers off to a hot start. But you've probably seen what you're going to see out of their quarterback, which is a huge thing. And at the same time, your quarterback's been through the gauntlet. You have him going 4-0, 4-4, and then 4-1 to finish the season.
Look at that. It's
crazy.
And think about it from the standpoint of, like, who we have. Like, there's so much newness around us, but from the way I see it, I think there is potential. So, like, allowing an entire season to let the offense kind of develop and figure their shit out, I think is what's going to bode well for us toward the end of the season. New offensive coordinator, tight ends coach, brought him over from the Detroit Lions, which Sam Laporta was having a career year, by the way. You all might have noticed that until he got injured. So I don't know. I do just think it'll take time for this offense to really come into its form. But with I would say a formidable Jalen Raynor at quarterback. One thing I would say with Jalen Raynor, I've noticed he was really trusted to throw the football a lot last year. Like, I don't know if there was a game where he threw less than 30 attempts. But he only surpassed 300 yards passing in 2 of the games. In both those games, he threw 47 passes and 48 passes. So I think he's got to have a little bit more, just like better production when it comes to driving the ball downfield. But I think it was like 17 pass touchdowns, maybe like 19 pass touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year, but add on another 7 rushing touchdowns. I think you're going to see Jalen Raynor at his best this year with the offensive staff additions that we brought in. I think we have enough firepower that he will be, playing with better talent at Iowa State than he did at Arkansas State by a pretty wide margin, to the point where he's going to be. I think he's going to have some like pretty solid games in the last 4 games of the year. So I'm kind of predicting 2 of those games, maybe 3. But Kansas State's got to be one of them. Like, I feel like he's just going to be feeling it. Last game of the season at Jack Trice Stadium, and I just feel like they're just going to go nuts.
I love it. I feel like you've given the fan base a lot to be excited about. Nate, I don't know how you wanted to wrap the pod, but I kind of want to get one more segment in before we end it. Starting with Nate, and then we'll go to Mason. Nate, what is one thing that fans can expect on the Hawkeye side of the football that's your big prediction? What are we going to go into the season thinking and then be totally wrong about?
Good or bad?
Either.
I'm going to go bad. I think people are underestimating or not giving enough focus to the absence of LeVar Woods and Caden Weegan and how dynamic those 2 guys were, right? I mean, LeVar Woods had a grapple or a stronghold on special teams throughout the entire college football. And then you lose him, and then you lose Caden Weegan, who was just it was the best return of college football for 2 straight years, right?
Yeah.
And then you lose a kicker who is now a starting kicker in the NFL. You know how freaking hard that is to be? I mean, and Iowa is notorious for being a special teams gauntlet for the last decade. Now you just lose 2 massive pieces. That's why I just don't see Iowa getting above 8-4 and stick around right there. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping they find a way. I think they'll be better than what I'm probably giving them credit for. But that's some serious situation that needs to be probably resolved here quickly.
Yeah, that's a huge gap. So Nate says special teams let down Mason. What is one thing that Cyclone fans are going into the season thinking that they will be completely wrong about by the end of it?
I don't know if I have anything that they're completely wrong about, because at the end of the day, I don't think anyone knows shit. I think everyone's expecting to not know shit. I think the media will be wrong about how bad we are. I think we're going to, like I said, surpass our season win total, but I also think we're going to be keeping almost every single game within a score, maybe 2. There's going to be a blowout. There will be a blowout no matter what. But I do think we're going to be surprising more so the media based off of how formidable we'll be in keeping games close. On the other side of things, this is where I said some Cyclone fans agree with me, some don't. I've been like Michael Scott, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap on whether or not I want Campbell and co to fail at Penn State. And I think for me, what I'm ultimately landing on right now is I do want them to fail. Like if there's a perfect world where Campbell can look good and the Iowa State players solely can look good and somehow they just like lose off of like pain in the ass losses, that would be awesome to me. Yeah. But if I have to choose, I want them to suck. I do not want, players and coaches who are at what would be deeming as a really great culture at Iowa State to go to what I would also deem as a historically toxic culture at Penn State. But
yeah, I think that's safe to say.
Yes.
I got a spin zone for you before we really jump off here. I think that for a lot of years, you've been able to make fun of the Big Ten West. I think for a lot of years, you've been able to say that the Big 12 is all air raid and no get down in the trenches and be gutsy about a football team. I think it's a generally loose conference. I think you're losing some of your bigger hitters. To me, this might be the opportunity for an entire Iowa State team, a Big 12 product, to go to the Big 10 and prove that these guys are for real ballers. Now, that is a crazy spin zone, and I don't want to go against what you desire in your heart for Campbell to suffer for all the things he's done to you, but that is a spin zone.
And I have thought about that because I was thinking, I think if you put Penn State's schedule in front of, the 2025 Iowa State team, we would win 10 games. Like, I really do believe that. And so basically that's what you're doing. You're taking Iowa State's 2025 team, copying it over and pasting it into Penn State. And that's why I think as Iowa State fans, for me, I do not want to see success at Penn State, but I think it's going to be so hard for them to not find success. Their schedule is probably the easiest.
They're teed up.
They're teed up for a great
season. They're teed up for it.
But Penn
so
State
I think
fans,
they're going to be a playoff team this year.
I cannot say this any louder and any clearer. Carson Hansen is your starting running back. He is RB1. Okay, that's all I got.
Hey, man, he's a damn football player. Like, he plays the game how it needs to be played.
You know, he's Peyton Hillis. He is Toby Gerhart. He is not Christian McCaffrey. He is not
He's not Christian McCaffrey.
anywhere close to that. But I digress.
This is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited just to be talking about football. But I honestly, I'm as excited. I'm way more excited watching Iowa State first week than Iowa the first week.
Yeah, I think that's
Maybe others outside of Iowa's quarterback play. That's obviously where the big questions are. But just like to see what product Iowa State's going to put on this field. I'm like, who the hell are you guys, right?
I will say, if you're a non-Iowa fan and you choose to put the Iowa Hawkeyes week 1 on your TV, then there's something wrong with you. So I agree. Like, you should probably not choose, Iowa over Iowa State week 1 if you're really any football fan outside of Hawkeyes. So good take.
I'm interested.
I am too. This is fun. And Mason
what's going on the names.
He gave everybody a really fun bet. 5 wins. I'm locking that in as soon as we hop off. I got nothing for Iowa. I think 8 wins is plenty. I don't know what the Vegas has us at 8, but
it's as safe as a bet you could do.
No.
They'll fucking find a way. All right, Mason. Hey, appreciate you for hopping on, brother. Thanks for the intel. We needed that.
Always very fun.
Yeah. Well,
appreciate you all. Roll clones as always.
25-point win for Iowa. I'll see you in the hot chip.
Yeah, we'll see about that.